There's a pretty good support up here for getting rid of Obamacare because it's a Democratic proposal, and we want to opt out. I think we'd all agree on this. But if you want better competition and better health care, you should allow the American people to opt out of government medicine.
Well, President Obama's health care overhaul was under fire again last night, and now there's new fallout after the president says he wants to keep a big part of that new law, even though his own administration says it's financially unsustainable. Republican Senator John Barrasso is the vice chairman of the Senate Republican Conference, also an orthopedic surgeon. And sir, Senator, Doctor, good morning and welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
You put out a report on this with some very strong language. You say the White House knew about this all along, this long-term insurance plan that was in the health care law. You call it a budget gimmick. How so?
Well, and they intentionally knew this and intentionally misled the American people to say that this health care law was going to pay for itself. It was absolutely one of their bookkeeping tricks that they used, and this is unaffordable, it's unsustainable, but it just shows that this health care law is unraveling, it's imploding, it's falling apart piece by piece.
How can you prove that they knew this the entire time, sir?
Well, you know, even Kent Conrad, a Democrat on the Senate floor, you know, he said that this scheme where they were going to collect money for the first 5 years and not pay out anything he said it was like a Ponzi scheme that even Bernie Madoff would be proud of. People knew from day one.
Who knew?
That this was going to, I think every thinking member of the United States Senate knew that this was a budget trick that they could use to try to sell the American people a health care law that I believe is bad for patients, bad for providers, the nurses and the doctors who take care of those patients, and bad for our taxpayers.
You're charging that they were cooking the books. Now they're going to come to you and
Absolutely.
say, how can you prove it? And again, how do you prove it?
Well, it's now taken the Department of Health and Human Services almost 19 months to look at this and come to the same conclusion. I think they knew it all along, but the president, rather than to admit that he was wrong, is now saying he wants to go ahead with this. But just like his bus tour, he has his so-called jobs plan and he says it's paid for. I really have great concerns about anything he says about how the money works, because I think that he continues to lead this country further and further into debt with his policies, which have been very bad for our economy.
Kathleen Sebelius says it's out. The White House, as you referred to there in that answer there, that the White House is hedging on this. Is it in or is it out?
It needs to be out, and I am ready to vote to repeal it. We have a bill in the House, a bill in the Senate. It's actually a bipartisan bill in the House to repeal this entire portion of the health care law, but I want to repeal the entire health care law. I've introduced legislation to let everyone opt out, to let everyone have a waiver from the health care law so that they don't have to live under the mandates of this Obama health care law.
One more thing, and short of that, if the long-term insurance clause that we're discussing today, it's known by the acronym CLASS, if that is out, what does it do to the overall law?
Well, I still think the overall law is unconstitutional. I don't think that this government has a right to come into your home and tell you you have to buy a product, and the Supreme Court will be making a decision about that, I believe, in the next year.
But in the short term, on this particular provision, if it's not in there, how does it affect the law?
Well, the law still stands. I want to take this entire law apart, and if I have to do it piece by piece, Bill, that's what I'm going to continue to work on.
Senator, thank you for your time. The Republican from Wyoming.
Thanks,
Senator
Bill.
Barrasso, thanks. Martha.